Dito sa nakikita natin, una yung kay Pangulong Duterte, si Pangulong Duterte ay ikinulong sa labas ng bansa. Imbis na dito litisin sa Pilipinas, dito nila kasuhan, inilabas nila ng ating bansa. And ako nagtataka kasi nga, bakit mo isa-subject ang isang tao, ang isang Pilipino, kung functioning naman yung court mo, kung gumagana ang iyong mga korte, kung merong kang batas. Nakita na natin sa dalawang pangulo yan na nangyari at nagkaroon ng malinaw na paglilitis. Bakit dito sa pangulong to, kailangan nilang kidnapin, and I'm using the term state kidnapping, at ilabas ng ating bansa. More importantly, ngayon ko lang nakita kami ni Kong JV, nasa Kongreso, ang ganitong klaseng korupsyon, organisado.
I will be your host for today, JV Bautista. If you will remember last time, we had an interesting guest here in the Agenda Forum in the person of former Senator Antonio Sani Trillanes IV. Now, in the name of fairness and a balanced reporting, we have invited an equally colorful and interesting personality to be able to present the other side of the picture. Baka naman kasi sabihin ninyo, isang side or aspect lang ang pinapakita natin dito sa Agenda Forum. Now, I would like to introduce our guest. I've known him for a long time because, Mike Defensor cut a very prominent figure in the anti-Marcos dictatorship as a student leader in the University of the Philippines during his student days. We were almost contemporaries, but he is younger than I am. He became congressman in the year 1995 at the young age of 36. And he was one of the so-called Spice Boys who was instrumental, of course you would know, first in the impeachment and later on in the ouster of then President Erap Estrada. He became a cabinet secretary in 2004 at the age of 45. This is remarkable as a political record, making him one of the most successful student leaders of our generation to advance in traditional politics. However, he ran for senator unsuccessfully, I think twice, in 2007 and 2010. Twice. Once, I'm sorry about that. I was the one who failed in 2010. Okay. He also attempted to become mayor of Quezon City but did not make the cut. But he came back to Congress I think this was in 2019. 2019, when he became a congressman for the party list Anak Kalusugan, which marked his comeback into elected and traditional politics. So, may I introduce, now he is one of the leading resource persons. As you would know, you almost interview him every day because of the controversial matters where he is personally involved in. I'd like to introduce you now to Congressman, Secretary, and then Congressman again, Mike Defensor. Opening statement, Congressman Mike.
Thank you so much. Una po sa lahat, I'd like to thank our good Congressman, JV Bautista. Tama po yun, 3 decades ago magkasama na po kami. Pero actually, Kong JV, I was not part of my first yung EDSA 1 because I was still very young at that time. Pero ano na yun? Yun na yung formative years ko when I entered UP and I became an activist. And one of the leading figures during that time was Congressman JV Bautista. Siya po yung aming abogado pag may problema yung mga estudyante, lalo na ho sa kilusan ng, sabihin na natin po, mga aktivista during that time. Si Kong JV po was one of the mga shining figures in the activist movement as he's one of our lawyers and one of the more eloquent leaders of our movement, social movement at that time. Pero yung pagkilos po namin, sa tingin ko hindi nahihinto lang nung kami napasok sa gobyerno. It is correct, nung po kay Erap Estrada, nagkaroon po tayo ng problema noon. In fact, if you look at the case of Vice President Erap Estrada, And kung JV, sa lakas yung main group na lumaban at the time, ang kaso po ni President Estrada was 4 billion pesos. Ang actual case niya dun sa supposed corruption was 150 million pesos. And si Pangulong Estrada, nilitis dito sa ating bansa. Dito po ikinulong, dyan po sa veterans where he had a hospital arrest. And then later on, he was convicted and given a pardon by President GMA. Nung si President GMA naman po yung nakulong, ang kaso niya was a 50 million budget of the 360 million intelligence funds of the PCSO. I'm not particular about the case. Pero yun po, parang nagkaroon lang ng note si President GMA na something like, okay, GMA. And then, for that, yung pong sa maliit na aksyon na yon ay nagkaroon po siya ng kaso. Dito po siya nilitis. At again, ikinulong po siya dyan sa may veterans. And later on, yung po ay na-dismiss yung mga kaso sa kanya. Dito sa nakikita natin, una yung kay Pangulong Duterte, si Pangulong Duterte ay ikinulong sa labas ng bansa. Imbis na dito litisin sa Pilipinas, dito nakasuhan, inilabas nila ng ating bansa. And ako nagtataka kasi nga, bakit mo isasubject ang isang tao, ang isang Pilipino, kung functioning naman yung court mo? Kung gumagana ang iyong mga korte? Kung merong kang batas? Nakita na natin sa dalawang pangulo yan na nangyari at nagkaroon ng malinaw na paglilitis. Bakit dito sa pangulong to, kailangan nilang kidnapin, and I'm using the term state kidnapping, at ilabas ng ating bansa. More importantly, ngayon ko lang nakita kami ni Kong JV, nasa Kongreso, ang ganitong klaseng korupsyon. Organisado. Yung leader mo mismo, ang Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas. Yung henchman niya o yung bataan niya, ang speaker ng ating House of Representatives o si Speaker Martin Romualdez. At ang kumakamada at nag-aayos ng kabuong budget ay si Saldico, chairman ng Committee on Appropriations. Sabi nila, si Saldico ang mastermind. Sabi nila, si Saldico ang ulo o siyang pinuno ng korupsyon dito sa ating bansa. Ngayon, nagsalita yung 18 Marines. Nagsalita si Godesa. Tao ni Saldico, galamay ng sinasabi nilang pinuno ng korupsyon, pero sinasabi nilang nagsisinungaling. Ayaw nilang tanggapin ang mga sinasabi. So, ito yung natin sa inyo lahat. At nagpapasalamat ako sa pagkakataon for Kong JB to have invited me and si Mr. Rivera for have invited me here. Ang ikinalulungkot ko lang ay hindi ako napag-quote dahil mas mukhang congressman si Kong JB sa akin. Mas mukhang ako nag-i-interview sa kanya. Salamat po. Magandang umaga sa inyo lahat.
You know, the character of Secretary Congressman Mike Quezon is that if you give him a microphone, it is impossible to know when he will stop. Talagang magaling siya magpaliwanag. Now, I'd like to go one by one to the comments that you made, Kong Mike, no? Number one, do you really believe in your bones, that former President Rodrigo Duterte would have his day in court here in the Philippines? Do you believe that? And how?
Una ho, alam nyo, the administration made a fatal mistake. Sometime November, they conducted their own survey. Ang sabi nila, bumabagsak na ang ratings ni Pangulong Duterte, the Duterte family in general, VP Sara in particular. Anong ginawa nila? Inimbitahan nila sa Senado si Pangulong Duterte. Tumaas yung rating. Inimbitahan nila sa Kongreso. Tumaas ulit ang rating, lalong tumaas. Nung kinidnap nila, lalo pang tumaas. Now the question is, do you believe we will have a fair trial? Yes, because there is already a precedence. Nangyari na yun kay Erap at the height of his popularity. Mabigat ang ratings ni Erap when he was ousted, when EDSA 2 happened. At doon nangyari na po kay GMA. Na si GMA, as you well know, till the end of his term, had control of the government, control of the armed forces, control of the police. Pero again, it's a question of justice. Ang tingin ko, Dapat sa ganong sitwasyon, walang politika, walang sinasabing sinong hawak mo. Filean nyo ng kaso, ikulong ninyo. Kung nakikita nyo, o talagang ang kaso, ay dapat siyang makulong.
The difference, however, Mike, is that nobody charged Duterte in the courts here. Is that correct? Wala namang nagkabla sa kanya dito eh. And then the next question is, meron bang judge or justice ng Sandigan Bayan? But he was no longer then an official of the land, so most likely RTC na lang yan. Kamukha ni GMA, di ba? RTC lang yung nag-issue ng warrant against GMA, no bail. Do you think there will ever be a judge in the Philippines who can issue a warrant of arrest for no bail against President Rodrigo Duterte? Medyo nakakatakot siya, di ba?
Alam nyo, yung sinasabing bakit walang nagkaso dito, ako din nagtataka. Gumastos sila ng bilyon-bilyon o milyon. Ginamit nila yung mga ICC, sinuntupan nila, pinakain nila, nilagay sa Maida, sa raffles. When in fact, pwede nilang ibinuo ang kaso dito. And it happened before. Hindi naman sa hindi nang inaarihan kay ERAP o kay Pangulong GMA. Mag-i-issue ba ng korte ng warrant? Sa palagay ko, kung may sapat na batayan, kahit sinong korte, mag-i-issue ng warrant. Partikular, kung kaya nyo kang kidnapin yung presidente, gamitin ang sandataang lakas, gumamit ng eroplano, ilipat ninyo yung tao. Ito po magkaso dito, para bang nahihirapan sila? I don't think so. I think, siguro, sa kanilang pananaw, mas mabuti, ialis siya ng bansa, which is wrong. Yun ang pagkakamali nila. Dahil nung ginawa nila yon, nakinuha yung Pilipino, ibinigay sa banyagang korte, iniliti sa banyagang batas, nagalit. Hindi na usapin to ng Duterte, dilawan ka, pinklawan ka, Leni Robredo ka. Pero yung taong bayan, nakikita nila na hindi dapat gawin sa isang Pilipino o gawin ang isang kaso ng dahil sa politika sa isang Pilipino at sa dating presidente.
Okay. Let me ask you this. In the interest of disclosure, no? Were you given any appointment during the Duterte administration?
Wala akong JB.
Wala.
In fact, kung nare-recall mo, nung unang nagtakbuhan niya, I was aligned with Speaker.
Yes.
And then later on, nanalo si Speaker Alan Cayetano. I was the last one who was given a committee. Kasi medyo nagkaroon kami ng...
You were a congressman there.
Congressman. Hindi naman kami nag-away ni Alan, pero I was the last one given a committee.
Yes.
Nung umupo si Speaker Lord Velasco, tinanggal pa ako. So I was never a favored congressman. Magkaibigan kami ni Pangulong Duterte. Pero alam ko naman, hindi naman, para sa akin di ba, hindi naman ganun na porkit magkaibigan kami, kailangan ako gawin mo deputy speaker o bigyan mo ako ng pondong ganito. It was never like that.